Good evening, my dear listeners, and welcome to the CSA Cafe, where we talk about controversial topics about everything, anywhere, about anyone. As always, I'm your host Ash, and today's sip is coming in hot, so grab your favorite drink, book, and get comfy. Okay, hello, everybody. So it's been so long since you've last heard this voice, and it's been so long since I've made my last update. It's like I disappeared in the face of the earth again. Um, this is not gonna be your typical podcast because I've been away for so long. This is gonna be yet another update as to where I've gone and what I've been doing, why I've always been gone, why do I always disappear at the face of the earth for like months at a time, a year. Um, so how why I've always been gone, really? I don't know. And I just it honestly really depends why. There is no logical explanation why I've always been gone. And like it's like, oh, okay, Ash's gone. I don't know when she'll come back. The channel's dead. Oh my god, is she still gonna be active? Is the channel inactive? Is it gonna be deactivated? All that kind of. I don't know. Trust me, I. There was a lot of shit that was going on, really, and there was things happening at home. I don't need to explain what. There were things happening at home, and then there's things that were happening in my own life. Uh, and then there were things restarting in my life, and then I just got carried away with drowning myself watching TV again and catching up on new BL dramas, behind the scenes content, podcasts of other podcasts that I listen to, hang out with real life friends. I have not properly sat down for a long time to kind of like record an episode or de-stress using my channel, because you all know by now I use this channel whether or not I have a lot of subscribers, whether I lose subscribers. I don't give a crap. The channel is like my safe space, or my like space to be myself, fully unmasked, and just rant things out, like, and whether or not it interests some people, it resonates with some people. I have a new community of people, like, it's a space, kind of like a diary, but in video form. Well, not really, audio format, and the reason why I come back today is because I finally have content to say, and that honestly, this person, I gotta thank this person for giving me motivation to, in a way, restart my channel once again, and really, this podcast episode, quote unquote, really is dedicated all to him, because thank God he gave me consent to talk about him, and he's like, yeah, sure, you can talk about me, I don't care, I love to yap, you love to yap, I give you consent to yap about me, but obviously, me, I like to protect the confidentiality of everyone and anyone I talk about, so um it's just a thing that I do here. It's showing respect, honoring that respect, and carrying out that respect, regardless whether or not people will eventually figure out whom I'm talking about or whatever. Like, but for the sake of my values and beliefs, is protecting that person's confidentiality, privacy, uh, boundaries, all that type of jazz. But anyways, yeah, just to start before I get called for dinner, really, it's probably gonna be split um, in two parts. But I'm probably gonna like talk a little bit as much as I can now, pause, and then come back, or split it into two. God knows. But first off, I just want to tell you right now, I promised you I'd give you Elle's side of the story again, of whatever else was missing. And Unfortunately, I don't think that's going to happen. But it's okay. It's okay. You have uh, more than enough parts from us, and you've met us. So I don't know when we'll get back together again to do sub ID A&E, but like I've put out sufficient enough of like 4 episodes, um, or rather, sorry, 4 parts and 2 episodes really of us. Um, Thankfully, this is just a hobby, and it's not like it must be an urgent thing that must be done. But like, we've been doing well. We've been talking, and we're always talking. We're updating each other, and like she's doing well, um, and she joined my ASD server on Discord, and like whenever she's free, if she can come, she'll come. It's not a mandatory thing. Like it's a support group. So yeah, that's the first thing as well. I've been busy throughout just the past summer being in an ASD support group that my bestie has found me, and it's free and it's for adults, um, 18 and up, and it's very rare to find adult support groups for something that is only available through childhood, and it's immensely helping me navigate being a late realized ASDer. And so I met new friends. I'm still talking to those new friends inside and outside of the Discord server, and it's been a ride. There's been stuff that happened there that made me stress out, made everybody stress out, and then it just we changed it for the better, and I'm now one of the facilitators, one of the leaders, if you will, that runs this Discord server. And so other than that, oh, it runs twice a week, by the way. But because I restarted school, I only show up on Mondays if I can. Wednesdays I have school, so whether or not I make it back in time, it's just too taxing for me to do Monday and Wednesday. So I just stick to the day that I don't have any class or any errands to run, and just go like, okay, I'll show up on Mondays, and then I trust my group to show up on the Wednesday. And so, I mean, if anybody is interested and they want a neurodivergent affirming support group, and they are kind of thinking they're neurodivergent themselves, or they lately realized they are neurodivergent, um, let me know and I will share the Discord server link with you. You know, it's 100% free. It's free. And it's no obligation, no, not mandatory to show up. It's how whatever works on your schedule. But obviously, it's from 5 to 7, both days, 5 to 7 EST time. So, you know, another thing, because I said I restarted school. So that's been also my thing. That along with this support group, I've restarted school even 3 years after I graduated out of U of T. Ash is restarting school at 31, after she's been working for like 3-4 years, you know. Going back to school when you were coming from the workplace is a totally new perspective for me. Yes, my mom's right about one thing, is that you eventually you catch on faster, you learn faster, and you know what is being talked about in class, like almost instinctively, because either A, you've learned it before, and even though you've graduated, it's still like a recent thing that you've graduated 3 years ago. The memory is still fresh, and whatever you're learning from school, whether it's a concept, a theory, or of a significant founding father of something, once you hear a familiar thing, your brain just clicks, and you're just like, oh, it's just, this is review for me. I love it, and I can do the connection. I can do my homework a lot easier and make the connection from point A to point B, because I've done this before. My degree's in this thing. I can bring previous learnings into this if the professor allows. You know, and it's like you have so much more room to work with in your creativity, because you've previously learned of this same similar subject elsewhere, right? It's just an entirely different perspective, and it's different than just being a regular transfer student from another university. Like, once you've come back from the workforce, or if you're still in the workforce and you're going to school, because you've full-time worked, let's say, the past 3-4 summers that have passed, going back into education from full-time positions changes your entire trajectory, really, as well, because you've dealt with a lot more people, your circle has expanded, you've come into contact with people either a lot older than you or a lot younger than you, to listen on different perspectives of lives and different paths of life, or you've finally had enough exposure to said new environment that it completely reshaped your mindset to be more sound and mature, if that makes any sense. You know what I mean? Like, you just think differently, and you now vibe with different people, or you realize you don't vibe with people like 2, 3, 4 decades younger than you anymore, because all they're thinking of is like one thing, whereas you have more experience, you're thinking about multiple things, you know. And sometimes you and that person might not mesh because you guys are just either too far away generational wise, or you're literally just on a different path of life than them. They just freshly came out of high school and just go straight into university, whereas you came from being a stay-at-home mom or dad, or coming from a full-time job, quitting, and then going back to school. You can't relate, but that's okay. So yeah, there's another thing. I'm gonna be bombarded with school stuff again, so you may or may not see me get off the face of the earth once again because of school. That's why. Another thing, I've also been really into my newest hyperfixation, which is tarot reading. I finally got my hand at an OG deck of tarot cards back when I was hanging out with my friend. And within just a week from buying the deck and playing with it, apparently I actually have a knack for this stuff, and I have a talent for this stuff, because when I did a few readings on my friends, they couldn't stop praising me for being super accurate. Even scarily accurate, really. Even though I did tell them just to take my reading with a grain of salt, because I just started, and I just am still training, so I'm still relying on the guidebook and stuff. But like, I even telling that disclaimer, and that they know willingly I'm kind of still training, quote unquote, or still relying on the book on how to figure out how tarot works, you know. They were very understanding, but they were still very shocked and surprised at how accurate I can pinpoint what's bothering them, or like what's really on their mind. And like, obviously, the more I do this, the more good at it I get. And like, again, this was just a week from buying the tarot, and then it's just been freshly a month since I bought the tarot cards, and like, my skills once again did like rose a lot. So you can think about, in months and years to come, how good I will become, that people might think I might just scare them off, but like, for me, I care about safety. And so I still put the disclaimer out there, like, I'm just a person that just friggin' reads cards. You can take it or run with it. You can believe it or not, but I just hope you won't come at me and like, you know, ruin my life because of it. Even though despite I told you all the warnings, because you know how some people are gonna be. They get it over their heads and then they'll blame you for it being inaccurate or like being too accurate maybe sometimes, and then they'll just hunt you down, and that's not good. That's not good. So I always exercise caution, really, whether or not I do online or in-person readings, whether or not I know the person inside out well enough, like whether it's my in real life friends or somebody I just met or somebody who's just like interested and like wants to do it for fun. I always drop that precaution disclaimer and go like, I know it's new to you and it's fascinating and it could be like completely just something foreign to you, but you just want to give it a try. Regardless, I say it to everybody, right? It's being a tarot reader also comes with respecting the person getting the reading as well as the person like doing the reading, which is like me. I'm like, if I'm doing someone's reading, they also have to respect me and also respect their boundaries and privacy and respect and stuff, because really honestly, they're in they as well as the reader is entrusting their fate to a stranger, honestly, really. And we are not supposed to, or tarot readers in general, they're not supposed to mess with other people's fates. But we're also like, if like those really seasoned experienced tarot readers, if they were to ignore it and dodge somebody's fate, like something wrong's gonna happen and they don't warn the person or something, let's say, that fate thing is still gonna land on somebody else, which is also not a good thing. So then in a way they're acting as that person's shield and they're taking an arrow for them, so to speak, metaphorically. And we don't want that, because that means if we were to deliberately avoid it and dodge the arrow, quote unquote, it's still going to land on somebody else. That somebody else is still going to get that misfortune or warning or miss whatever. So we try not to, as much as it physically pains us, because I truly believe spiritual energy is real. And since I'm still a newbie, obviously the more readings I do or the more cards I pull, it's gonna drain my energy a lot, and it's not a good feeling. But apparently I have to do it more frequently or like consistently. Like the more I expose myself to doing more readings, the less of these so-called side effects will happen. Because obviously why it even appears in the first place is because you're new to this new hobby or whatever, and because you're using so much emotional and physical energy to focus on interpreting the cards or trying to read these cards, trying to understand what it's telling you and what it's telling the person getting the reading. I don't know if it's just me, but really honestly I feel dizzy, I feel very tired and very very sleepy, right? But that's because I'm still in my beginning journey of being a baby tarot reader, right? Apparently, obviously the more you do it, the more comfortable you get at doing this, the less side effects will show, and like soon you won't feel anything, and it's just gonna be like an everyday Tuesday and being like, oh, okay, you want a reading? Okay, yeah, sure, why not? And then when you're done, you still feel normal and you're good. But obviously, even as seasoned of a reader as you are, if you do multiple, and by multiple I mean like, say you are doing this for a profession and you like read 30 to 40 readings a day, right? Because you got a lot of clients or whatever. Obviously, even for a seasoned tarot reader, you're gonna feel very emotionally drained and tired and not good. So obviously they also need time to recuperate and just step away and not look at the cards for a while and just rest and come back to it another day. Okay, but yeah, enough of me yapping about tarot. I'm gonna start, like, the more I get used to just reading, and this, I swear to you, this hyperfixation will die down, and I will stop talking about it. It's just because it's my new thing, and I'm still so, like, excited about it. I keep yapping about it to my friends. I know it's gonna be annoying, and it's like really, like, getting really boring because I just say the same thing because I just, you know. But I swear to you, you won't hear it as often anymore. The more it's soon just gonna be a thing in the back burner and being like, oh, you do tarot? That's so cool. I'm gonna just, you know. But yeah, anyways, okay. Shut up about the tarot. Okay. But yeah, why I wanted to provide an update more so rather than an actual podcast episode is because I just really want to treat it as updating my viewers and being like, where the hell is Ash? You know, it's been like 4 months ago was the last video I made, and that's it. 4 months ago, that brings us back to hold up. I suck. 4 months ago brings us back to May. Or not even. Why do I feel like 4 months ago was like November? Like, I still remember, like, my last video was November and then I just disappeared. But anyways, yeah, no, my last video was in May, apparently. But yeah, I also in May was my birthday, and so I had some festivities to go to, and like people to see, food to eat, you know. Being in my 30s is I'm feeling a lot of things, guys. I'm feeling a lot of things. Is it appropriate to say I'm starting to feel my age? Because apparently, when you're 30 plus, like, they were not lying about the body breaking down. You're still young, but like really you can't deny that your body's starting to deteriorate in some way, shape, or form. Regardless if you do a lot of exercising, you're very healthy, you eat clean, all that kind of stuff. But like your body is starting to wear you down because we use it every day. Whether it's you walk every day, you go to the gym frequently, depending on like the type of muscle you always use, it's soon to like bother you despite whether or not you're healthy. Like, example, my brother plays tennis and he's been playing tennis since he was young, and he's also an instructor. He has back pain and tennis elbow. You get what I mean? Like, it and it bothers him. But like, he is a very sporty guy and exercises a lot, and he's relatively super friggin' healthy, but like his age is catching up to him. So there's an example. You know, but I think the main highlight I wanted to tell you is the sole reason why I got back online is to tell you that it's all thanks to this person that motivated me to go back online and like yap about him. So I'm gonna yap about him because he gave me consent to yap about him. So hi, if you're listening, thank you for bringing my motivation back to record. I promise you I will come back and record more often. My definition of often versus everybody's different definitions of often is I gotta make it a frequent thing. If I make it a routine, I'm pretty sure that I can stick with it and I'll come back and I'll be a frequent podcaster, don't worry. But hi! So yeah, he gave me consent to talk about him today because I literally, today, literally, September 11th, I just came back from brunch with my mom and him from early morning, my definition of early morning, to like late in the afternoon, until we had to do until we had to leave and do errands and separate and stuff like that. But for the sake of, again, confidentiality, I'm going to, although he said I can reveal his name and stuff, but like for the sake of confidentiality and privacy and like protecting him and stuff, I'm just gonna name him David, right? So you know, all of my listeners, you all know how excited I get and how easily excited I get, how easily passionate I get, and how easily I get appreciated. I appreciate the small things in life. Like you give me ice cream, or you give me, like, you hang out with me for a day and we do nothing. We just yap for the entire day. I get really super excited and very happy, just to spend time with people, and doing like low stimulating activities or something like that. Like, it doesn't have to be like, you don't have to bring me to a concert or like a street festival or all that. It's just even you bringing, like, if I'm invited to your house and we just like lounge around and be lazy and order in, I'm very appreciative of that. It's just, you know, so that's exactly what happened. Today, I've met with David, and I've seen him before. We've met once before, and right from the first look, I knew he'd be a famous fashion designer. I call him famous fashion designer, but because I don't know how else to title him that my viewers would understand who I'm talking about. Because if I say famous fashion designer, to me anyway, okay, it kind of it drives people in. It interests them when they hear famous fashion designer, you know. So then, to me, he's a famous fashion designer. We've met once before, and so this is our second meeting. But the first meeting, I didn't really talk much because he was just like he was connecting through with my mom about something. I was just there with her because we were just literally thinking, okay, we're gonna have brunch. And suddenly he walks in, and he's very extroverted, and he like knows a lot of people, and he likes to strike up conversation, which is not a bad thing. And like, it was early in the morning, and this breakfast place was really popular, so luckily me and my mom grabbed a seat. And then overhead, like, he was talking about something that interested my mom, and so my mom also striked up conversation with him, and that's how the first meeting began. And it was through breakfast. Like, we were thinking that we were disrupting his breakfast because he literally just walked in. He wanted to eat, but then he was actually just waiting for his takeout. I guess he was like taking his breakfast to go, but like, he had enough time to strike up conversation with my mom and like exchange contacts and stuff, because the thing that was being talked about interested her, and she was interested in knowing more. And so that opened up a new pathway for them to like get to know each other and be friends. Again, I was just there in the background, just like munching away my breakfast, because I was like, it was early in the morning for me. I was kind of hungry. Food was kind of getting cold because it was already here. So I was like, since I have ADHD and autism, and I'm going to be so flipping inattentive and just not pay attention, I'm just gonna focus on eating. But like, I was not ignoring him, okay? At least he said hi, I said hi back. I didn't want to be rude. He was a little, obviously, the first time I met him, even though he was not directly talking to me, I found him a little bit intimidating, obviously, just because I'm very introverted, he's very extroverted, so I kind of got a little bit scared. I guess not really intimidated. I was just a little bit scared of his loudness, but I understood he's a very passionate person, but as I am too, because everybody now knows that when I'm very passionate about something and I know something inside out, I'm gonna be loud AF, right? But that's you know, and you know my history, like, obviously in certain circumstances, being loud doesn't necessarily mean someone's yelling at you. So at least at this point in time when I'm online, which is on this podcast, when I'm loud, it's a safe kind of loud because I'm talking about things that I like and I'm talking to an audience that very much cares and is attentive to what I have to say. Like, you know, and so being loud is okay and it's safe, you know. But like that was just my first impression. I get first impressions are strong and everlasting, but like again, on that day, I honestly was just focused on the food. Right? They just talked amongst themselves, and I was like munching away. That's it. This is the second time I've seen him. So even though he was, you know me, whenever I'm just getting through to the idea that um famous celebrities or famous people like whatever, like if they're very well known, you know me, that I get very excited, but I also get highly nervous because I'm thinking if I'm gonna tarnish their reputation or something, or like just saying hi or talking to them might make them think wrongly of me. I don't know, like I just you know me, but I get scared-ish of talking to famous people because of their aura and the power they hold, I guess. Because whenever I see famous people, they look very well put together, and alongside that they dress nice, you know. But like I'm slowly like out of the times that I fell off the face of the earth and not record, I slowly am learning that famous people are just really people underneath, and like they were not famous at one point of their lives, and they were just normal people, right? I'm trying to grasp that concept that they're someone not to be afraid of, because you know how some people, or rather a lot of people, they might get fame up over their heads, and then lots of people treat fans really badly, and they're just fans. So imagine how they treat people that they know, right? So that's what I'm scared of, because you know why? Because I once met another pair of famous people. They were actually really super famous people. They were 2-time silver medalist figure skaters, and for the first time ever, I actually met them at J-Town, at a Japanese supermarket, right? And I didn't know what to do. I was like, I usually do a double take. I'm like, is it really them? And then when I really confirmed it was really them, there's the giddy side of me. I got really happy. I'm like, oh my god, I've seen you guys on TV. I followed your figure skating career. I'm aware that you guys train here as well, but I would have never thought to meet you at a goddamn supermarket, right? And I didn't get to talk to the boy because they're a figure skating pair. They're a Japanese 2-time silver medalist figure skating pair. I didn't get to talk to the boy, but I talked to the girl because I think the boy was busy picking out his groceries and stuff, so I didn't want to bother him. But he saw me, I acknowledged him, he acknowledged me, you know. So basically I still met them. But like I was talking to the girl, and all I said was like I was reconfirming. I was like, "Hi, are you guys so and so, the famous figure skaters from Japan, blah 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 blah." And then she said yes, but then the whole time the short conversation was happening, because once she said yes, I just said, oh, I'm such a big fan of both of you, blah blah blah. Like it was just a normal, you know, to show that I'm a fan of you, and it's so nice to meet you, and I didn't want to bother you. I just wanted to say hi, enjoy your rest of the shopping trip, blah blah blah. But during that conversation, when I opened up and talked first, and I was like, hey, are you so and so from this figure skating team, blah blah blah. The way she answered me, and then going forward, opening up the conversation when I said, "Oh my god, I'm a big fan of you," and then she said thank you, whatever. I keep in mind she's younger than me by a decade. The male was older by a year. But again, like I said, I didn't talk to him. But like, I don't know if it was despite being her age or something, or maybe she wasn't expecting to see a fan at a supermarket they frequent most. But I felt like she was giving me some attitude. So that's what I mean by letting fame get into their head. I don't want to blame the boy because again I didn't interact with him. He didn't talk or anything, and we just exchanged eye contact and nodded and said hi or whatever. So I don't want to tarnish him, but like I, I was still being nice, even though I had a pang of oh my god, was she not expecting to see a fan, or was she really giving me attitude, or was she just tired? Because it was the end of day when I kind of met them. Like it was like late into the afternoonish, like 1:30. Like I don't know what was happening, but like I went out of the store when my mom and I were done to like reflect and process what happened, because my conversations, because I know how busy they are very brief. But it did not leave me a good impression of the girl anyway. Again, maybe it's because she's very young, because her and her partner, like, they are a decade apart themselves, right? And so that makes me and her a decade apart ish, you know. So I don't know if it was cultural differences, just a shock that she wasn't expecting to see a fan there again. But like I talked to my mom about it, and I was thinking, and the only thing that was right about what she said was, it's kind of, I guess not weird, but like if you think back, like if I'm telling you now, if you think back, it's kind of weirdish that like wouldn't that said famous person or whatever, like if you were famous and you saw someone that recognized you, wouldn't you at least be happy, or at least acknowledge them if you've made eye contact or something? Like, because you know how some celebrities, they just blatantly like walk past you and ignore that you don't even exist. You get what I mean? Like I get it, celebrities don't know your name and you're just like it's just a one-time passing thing because they're literally like zooming from one place to another, but like they're not gonna be that rude to like dismiss a fan or like pretend they don't goddamn exist, right, when they're in front of their face. Like, you know what I mean? So I guess that interaction made me think of her being now unapproachable, because the next time I saw her, obviously I saw them perform on TV again because it was Olympic season. Again, I had a 180-degree change of how I see her now just because of that interaction, because of what my mom said, because it kind of rang some truth. It didn't look like they were rushing, really, when I saw them, because they were taking their time doing grocery shopping. Like if obviously if somebody was in a rush, I would know, but like you know how observant I am. They looked like they were taking their time. It was an off day for them. I'm one of those fans now. I'm very respectful. I don't even have my phone in hand or whatever. I don't even ask them for their picture or autograph or whatever. I just want to talk to them. So I knew that they were not busy or like rushing somewhere before I even approached them. So I was, it just left me flabbergasted, wondering why. Like it even made me think, oh my god, did I do something wrong? But then when my mom told me it was just, maybe it was just really her, that it was off, that, you know, maybe it was not her day, maybe she's normally not this nonchalant and mean or whatever, you know. I don't know. But like anyway, the back to David. Okay. My point is, despite his extroversion and his passionate, demeanor, I guess. He and I, we spoke, and we spoke about a lot of things. Even though I was really focused on eating and stuff. Um, he he is somebody whom I feel like would would get along with me. Obviously, it takes me very, 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 very long time to warm up to people or to know people or because I'm feeling them out or like I'm because of my anxious nature, I guess. I I profile people out of safety because I've been mistreated by a lot of people in my life, and so I deem people unsafe. So that's why I need to get to know them from top to bottom, inside out, before I, uh, you know, decide whether or not they are of my friend circle. You know what I mean? Because I mean, regardless whether it's a hit or miss, accurate or not. Like to me, it's not a coping mechanism of my mental health like plummeting really, but like I do it because it's autopilot, but also it's a safety thing that I do. And even though it was like it was way too short today, and I haven't used it in a while, whatever info I've gathered, if any, it take me as well. I take a long time to process every day. Process conversations, things that I've done, people that I've talked to. That I need at least the golden 72 hours to like rethink back to what happened yesterday or whatever to fully grasp how that place was or how that person really was, that kind of thing. And like I know people are gonna say that psychoanalyzing people are it's inaccurate and it's kind of creepy or like it's kind of not, it's like rude to do, because it's not a definite or accurate picture of who they really are. But like I don't know that, and they don't know that I don't know that, right? But like it's very few people know why I do the so-called quote unquote psychoanalyzing. They call it psychoanalyzing. I call it safely profiling. I don't know. Like it's again it's a thing that's in my brain that is like autopilot, and I'm learning to manually turn it on and off. And because it's been manually off for like God knows how long, it's bound to be malfunctioning, because I've had people be like, "Oh my god, you're so weird. Don't do that. It's creepy." Like WTF, it's like stop. Like but I can't, because I bet you I'm not the only neurodivergent person that does this. Like intensely observing places and people and stuff like that. But like yeah, although it was mainly just David and my mom conversating a lot, and I was just again focused on the food, right, and taking in the environment and watching TV a lot. When he does talk to me, or when it's my turn, like when he wants to talk to me, or like when it's my turn, I love that he shows interest and actually tries to include me in the conversation. He's very inclusive. I love that. Everything that I've studied in U of T with gender studies and sociology, diversity, equity, and inclusion. He does a lot of inclusion, and I love that. He doesn't think that I like don't exist because I am there. But like again, some people blatantly just friggin' ignore the person that is not part of the conversation, or like but like he does not ignore me. He brings me into the conversation even though I don't know what's happening, but he translates to me. He's like, "Oh, I'm sorry, it's just, oh, your mom and I are just talking about blank, blank, and blank, right? He at least explains to me so that I don't feel left out, and I love that because oftentimes I am being left out and ignored and stuff, and like hence the bullying cycle, right? And like being isolated and being othered, right? That nobody likes that, right? They like being included, whether or not they can't relate to they can relate to the conversation or not. Like just the feeling of belongingness and inclusion, accessibility, that that already says a lot about someone's character, like if they can do that. Because obviously oftentimes a lot of people nowadays, they're just every man for themselves. They care about themselves. They're selfish, and they just like whatever benefits them, they're just going to do it themselves, and they immediately drop people that they said they're going to help. But once one like they just drop them like that. Like um so I like that he doesn't take advantage of me. I don't want to say he doesn't take advantage of people because that's broad. Like I just to relating it back to me, at least he doesn't take advantage of me and stuff. Um like again, because it was such a short brunch thing, obviously there's only so much we can talk about, or so little we can talk about, because he was literally coming from work, and obviously likewise when we're done he has to go back to work, right? And so it was very much precious time with him, and I really appreciate the time that he's given to us, and that he can spare time out of his busy schedule to like meet with my mom and I and stuff. And like I hope he likes me. Because again, he only ever conversates with my mom, and I'm rarely in the picture because either A, I'm at work, or two, I'm at school, because it's week 2 of school, right? And so my mom sees him more than I see him. You get what I mean? So that's why I said this is just my second encounter with him. I've only I only know so much, right? And I like that he really takes in what I said. Like literally, I said I don't eat much because I have GI problems and stomach issues since birth and stuff, and I love that he's defending me really from what my mom always says. Really, he literally said that, like, to counter, like, it's true but not really, that she told him that I don't eat, which is kind of half true half not, is because I don't know how my stomach's gonna react. You get what I mean? And literally he said, well, no, she's just being careful and cautious, and that's not a bad thing, or something like that. And instantly that grabbed my heart. Like, so he notices things. He's like me. He notices things other people just deem to dismiss or miss um entirely, like, because they deem it not as important info to keep, right? So that's one. Another thing is that he really shows interest in, again, what I have to say when I told him like what I study and what I do, and how I am as a person normally, or something like that. And um he gave me a lot of heartfelt advice and insight, given, because again, he's in a different life stage as I am, because I'm still very much far away from people in my peer group that, I guarantee you, a lot of people in my peer group, they're already friggin' full-time workers since long time ago. But I am still in school. I have job, but like, people are like full-timers. I'm a part-timer, and as well as they're not doing school anymore along with job, I went back to school and job. You get what I mean? So again, we don't relate or we don't mesh because they're at a different point in their life stage. God knows they might already have family since a long time ago. I still have no built family, if you know what I mean. Like, but he like I said, I told him he knows how to act appropriately to people. Like, what I mean by that is, like, I told him he knows how to speak. Like, he will adjust and adapt to whom he's speaking with. Like, whoever's directly in front of his face, he, to me, I feel like he will speak according to whoever's in front of him. Like, all, like, the way he speaks to my mom versus the way he speaks to me is because he knows my vocabulary is not that expanded, even though I come from an English major background. Okay, but that's not related. But like what I'm saying is because he knows when he's talking to a grown adult versus when he's talking to like a kid or a student or somebody who has disability, or you know what I mean. Like, he'll cater, to me that's what I think, he'll cater to whomever is standing in front of his face, even though he's told me that he's more or less the same person, regardless of whoever's in front of his face, which I get, because he said that he's the type of person that if he doesn't like someone, he's just gonna literally tell somebody to F off. He's literally the one, like a lot of people, but like for him, I feel like he does it in another way. I don't know how to explain it, but like he's one to be fully himself, unmasked, and I really admire that from him, because he doesn't. He's one of the I don't give a fuck energy, and I love that. I love when people can do that, just fully, fully I don't give a fuck, and it like shows on his face and stuff. Like, likewise to me, like, if those that know me in my real life for a long time, they know my journey of how I've been to how I am now, that now I actually sometimes I give the I don't give a fuck energy, and it really shows on my face. A lot of, now my besties in real life now, they laugh with me, not at me, but they laugh with me whenever they swing their head over and they look at my face and then instantly they laugh. It's because they know how I am, and when I don't like something that happened or don't like something that person said, or like I have a bad vibe about somebody, it shows on my face. It shows on my face, and to my besties, it's funny to them. But for some other people, they're like, if Ash has a bad vibe about somebody or doesn't like somebody because of this and this, I'm gonna take it and run with it, because she has never failed me thus far, and she's pretty accurate, because I then begin to see it the next time we encounter this person, blah blah blah, and I take in what she says seriously, and now I'm beginning to see a pattern, and what she said was right, blah 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 blah. So, me and David have subtitles on our faces, you know. I can't do it as comfortably and openly as he can. But like when I'm being in a safe environment with people I'm familiar with and like, and then I do the subtitle face, that's the only time I can truly like let loose. That's it. But otherwise, I feel out my environment and stuff, based on how safe I feel. I don't know if I'm making any sense. I'm just cautious of the time, because my mom's like, oh, 6:30 is the latest in which, you know, it's dinner time, blah blah blah. So again, like I said, I might cut it in half, But uh in other news, you know what? I'm gonna leave you guys on a cliffhanger. I'll be right back because the next part is other than the brunch, which was lovely and delicious, by the way, and I really hope to see him again for more food. Because again, even though I don't eat much, I still eat. But I like being exposed to sometimes. Sometimes I like being exposed to new places and trying new things. So long as on the menu there's at least some type of safe food I can have that my stomach will not have a bad friggin' reaction to it. But in the second half, I'm gonna tell you um, more about what else happened other than the brunch. Because we didn't go home yet after brunch. That's where the exciting part is. So, sit tight, hang tight, go use the washroom, go pee. I don't. Just. Ash will be back, don't worry.